Thank you, Miss Carmel, for mispronouncing my name. I hear my father turning in his grave, being called Salim instead of Satem. It's quite easy to remember. You know the cigarette Salem? Turn the T into L. Turn the L into a T. That's my name. And by the way, I've given up smoking for the last 3 years. To make it short and easy for you, I just say, ladies and gentlemen. The others have mentioned the distinguished speakers and guests, so no need for me to mispronounce your names also. So I'll just say, ladies and fellow ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I am looking forward to the 15-hour week so that I can be chief minister for 2 hours a day. The rest I shall attend to my grandchildren, which I think is more pleasurable than being chief minister. But don't tell my voters that one, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, what can we do if there is no technology, there is no technical education, especially when you want to industrialize, like we are going to in Sarawak. Oh, by the way, to all the foreign delegates, welcome to Sarawak, the land of the layered cake. The land of the tastefully tasted laksa, the land of ikan terubuk masin, etc., the land of smiles, they say. Welcome to Sarawak. The country is open for you. Come visit us, spend some money. We want to promote tourism. Now, I don't know who's prepared this speech for me, but he obviously made some mistake. I'm supposed to address the Prime Minister. I don't see him here today. He's busy somewhere else. Anyway, okay, I'll have to read this thing if you care not to sleep. Let me begin by extending our warm welcome to all the conference delegates, especially those from outside Malaysia, to this TVET conference this year. There are about 700 of you. No, I think half the number, isn't it? Yeah, he's people than 700. He's not paying attention, is he, when he writes the speeches? From more than 28 countries. That's quite an achievement. Thank you, Ms. Carmel Thompson and members of the International Vocational Educational and Training Association, or IVETA, for the decision to have the annual conference here in Kuching this year. Why you chose Kuching, I don't know. Maybe because of the layered cake, maybe. It is indeed an honor for us to play host to this World Conference, and it is a fitting recognition, and this is the point, it is the fitting recognition of the significance that the state government has placed on the development of technical and vocational education and training in the state. The realization that we need technical and vocational training came rather late in Sarawak. When others have gone down the road, we are still at a loss on what to do, until quite recently when we managed, or when we decided on a policy of industrialization, then we need technically trained and vocationally trained manpower. But it's never too late. And now, of course, we are in the throes of developing technical education to fit into our industrialization program. Ladies and gentlemen, we have formulated a long-term development plan known as the Socio-Economic Transformation Plan, or SET, SETP, the two main thrusts of which are to accelerate income growth, and reduce income disparity. With industrialization, with increasing wealth, we not only want to raise our living standards, but also to reduce the gap, the wide gap between the rich and the poor, income disparity, especially between the towns and the rural areas. In order to catch up with other more developed states in Malaysia by the year 2030, we have a lot of catching up to do. Compared to Selangor, for instance, or the Klang Valley, we have a lot of catching up to do. The way forward for us, therefore, is to industrialize our economy. We are no longer content simply to produce raw material, raw commodities. We are no longer interested in that. We want to develop downstream activities, added value, and that is where skills, manpower, and technology comes in. Our strategy is to add more value to our economic activities in all sectors of the economy. To achieve this, we need to develop a human capital as the drivers of growth. Our industrialization plans will come to nothing if we do not have the workforce with the right knowledge and skill. We are committed, therefore, to develop our human capital to ensure that our people are highly knowledgeable, skillful, creative, and innovative. The state has set up a number of universities and skills development centers, in addition to many other similar institutions set up by the federal government to train our workforce. There is the state participation, the federal participation, and later on the private sector participation in developing skills development in the state. The Sarawak Corridor of Renewable Energy, SCORE, that covers a vast area in central Sarawak, leveraging on the resource of natural resources and cheap hydropower based on cheap electricity and resource-rich environment, will be the engine of our economic growth until 2030. This will be the starting engine for our growth, middle of Sarawak, where there is available cheap energy and also a wealth of natural resources, oil and gas, timber, and so on. It is estimated that SCORE will attract over 300 billion Malaysian ringgit, minus devaluation. Yes. I don't know what is going on in the world economy now. People are worried about what's happening in China, and we are worried about devaluation. It is estimated that SCORE will attract over 300 billion worth of investment by 2030. Although we are still in phase one, on the early stages of SCORE, we have successfully so far secured 20 projects with total investment of almost 31 million. These projects are predominantly in the energy-intensive industries, such as aluminum smelting, polycrystalline silicon, metallic silicon, ferroalloys in the Samalaju Industrial Park near Bintulu. A study by UNIMAS, our local university, has estimated that by 2030, more than 1 million new jobs would be created, of which more than 50% will be skilled and semi-skilled jobs. You can see why we are very enthusiastic about TVET. It fits into our plan. Now we have 54 public and 35 private TEBC institutions in the state with a total capacity of about 30,000 trainees. These institutions jointly produce an annual output of about 11,000 certificate holders in different grades. At the current rate, we would only be able to produce about 170,000 skilled workers by 2030. We need, therefore, to substantially increase our training capacity. The state will require a threefold increase in TVET enrollment in order to meet the state's needs and the nation's need. So we need to increase our capacity for training. The present setup is insufficient. The state government, through Yayasan Sarawak, our foundation, has established, for instance, the Center for Technical Excellence, or CENTEX. The unique feature of CENTEX is that all its programs are developed in close consultation with and direct involvement of industry players, thus assuring the relevance of the training received to the demands of the industry. It will be a government-private sector joint development. We must have the cooperation of industry. We must understand industrial needs so that they can fit together. Within the 11th Malaysia Plan, at least 2 more CENTEX would be established. The Lunluk campus is starting its operation this year, using temporary facilities until the permanent one is finished. The Sarawak Skills Development Center will also establish new centers in Muka and Lawas, while existing centers in Kuching and Miri will be expanded. We are also grateful to various federal agencies that are also expanding their presence in Sarawak. The Ministry of Education, for instance, has converted 6 schools to become vocational colleges. We hope there will be more, as these vocational colleges will become a major supplier of trained, skilled workforce in the future. We hope that the ministry will continue to build more community colleges in a state that the target of 1 community college in each constituency, parliamentary constituency, can be achieved as soon as possible. We also welcome MARA effort to build more GIAT MARA centers. We also facilitate and help the private sector to establish more skills training institutes and the existing ones to expand their operation. Last year alone, at least 5 new private skills training providers have started their operation in Sarawak. While we increase our training capacity, we are also taking the necessary measures to attract our boys and girls to undertake TVET courses. There appears to be some mental block, but slowly now giving way to new thinking on technical education. It used to be looked down upon, downgraded, which is not the right thing to do. But to change people's mindset, that takes time. But I think we're slowly achieving that one from the numbers that are now partaking in all this industrial training. TVET was generally perceived to be a less attractive pathway compared to the conventional university education. It was often regarded as an option for those academically poor students who were not able to continue their studies at tertiary level. Consequently, TVET programs were shunned, not only by the students, but also their parents and the society in general. A mental revolution was therefore needed. And I think I can see some movement in that direction now. For this reason, we set up what is known as TEGAS, Tabung Ekonomi Gagasan Anak Sarawak, and an NGO fully funded by the state government, tasked with the job to promotion of TVET education, especially among rural students in Sarawak. And there has been some response, some positive response in this area. Through its many promotion programs, the GAS has made some degrees of success. If the increase in TVET from 67% 2013 to 85% this year, so far this year. We also provide financial assistance to trainees through Sarawak Foundation. As a result of this, Foundation budget to provide financial assistance to those undertaking skills training has been increased substantially. We sincerely hope that the federal government would likewise increase its allocation for Sarawakians to the Tabung Pembangunan Kemahiran Skills Development Fund. The recently concluded Asia Pacific Conference on Education and Training in Kuala Lumpur and the resulting Kuala Lumpur Declaration stresses the need for TVET to be people-centered and highlight the need to humanize skills development. We welcome the recommendation that TVET must first and foremost work for the people. I think that's very obvious. I don't think you need a declaration to do that. It's obvious we need for the people, but that is the students, the trainees and the workers, and not just the industry. We wish to see greater and more meaningful support from the private sector. International studies reveal countries that have succeeded in harnessing meaningful support from the private sector are more successful in developing a high-quality, relevant, financially sustainable, and openly accessible TVET system. You must work together with the private sector. You cannot do this alone, and the private sector must be responsive to our effort. Finally, you can wake up now. I'm nearly the end of my speech. Have you been sleeping or what? I wish all of you fruitful deliberation and sincerely hope the conference will succeed in generating new and creative ideas to further enhance TVET education globally. And with that hope, it is my pleasure to declare the World TVET Conference this year open. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, World TVET Conference 2015 is now officially